Hello everyone, and welcome to the second of two Bad Roommates videos. First up we have Stuck in Toxic Housing by Serious Giggles. I'm a 24-year-old female that has been living with 3 other people for a year and a half and can't stand living here. It's unhealthy. I live with my partner, who is 24, and 2 roommates, male and female, who are both 25 I think, but I don't honestly know. I've had a very hard time adjusting to living with them. It felt like constant stressors were always being piled on. Here is a list of notable ones. 1. We all agreed to make a chore chart. The female roommate got supplies and never actually made it. I did, using a whiteboard. Male roommate now believes some chores are superficial. It should be noted that he does the least amount of chores. 2. For several months in the past, male roommate has been late on rent. It got so bad that the landlord threatened to take us to the magistrate. It should be noted my partner and male roommate both split rent 50-50. I sometimes help with utilities and often give my partner a lot of money for goods and to buy groceries. I cannot fully support the weight of a rent payment due to my other bills. However, one month I actually did have to pay $475 to the male partner for his half of rent, since he wasn't working. He was not working due to some medical issues, but also did some supplemental income by door dashing or anything like that. His partner, the female roommate, works part-time and doesn't contribute much to their finances. 2.5. Even when the male roommate was working, they would be short on rent, $80 or so. Not a lot. That is actually a lot. But still doesn't bode well to me. They actually got a new job, so I'm hoping that things get settled. Something that might be petty is that after I paid the $475 toward the roommate's part of the rent, he got a $300 laptop. I do not understand why he already has a Steam Deck and a PC, nor do I understand why he thought it was a good idea to buy it when he was out of a job. 3. Female roommate doesn't drive, so my partner and I have had to, I used to, but no longer since she does not provide gas money, take her to work, which can interfere with our plans. She does not offer to give us gas money. She does not have a driver's license. We live in northeastern Pennsylvania. She does not take public transportation either. 4. Pet debate. My roommates want to bring a cat into the apartment, but me and my partner do not agree for several reasons. The largest being potential messes like pee. Should be noted that we have a large security deposit, potential destruction of furniture and wires, my cat was destructive, and the financial cost. I also do not believe it is fair for other reasons, but that is beside the point. We had a discussion about it with the male roommate, and me and my partner made it clear we do not want pets in the apartment. Due to several stressors and others not mentioned, my mental health is tanked greatly. I feel trapped. I get horrible intrusive thoughts to harm myself and others, or just destroy things in general. Part of me really wants to move back with my parents, but my partner doesn't like the idea, since he feels like his own mental health would tank. We cannot afford to leave. My therapist also agrees I should stick it out here as long as I can. That's a bad therapist, I think. I don't know what to do. My therapist did suggest I tell my roommates how living here is bad for me. Oh yeah, that'll go well. But I just don't see how that'll help. It won't help. It won't. It'll just make things more difficult. I'm assuming your therapist thinks it's going to help in some way, but the fact is, these people are not agreeable in any way. Is this therapist qualified? It doesn't sound like they are. No, I think what you need to do is get out. So, ignore the Jezrag in the comments calling you a squatter because you don't pay rent. Actually, downvote that. It doesn't matter if you pay rent. You're there with your partner. The other ones are there with their partner. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, get out. Move back to your parents temporarily until you can get out and get into a place of your own or another place. What your boyfriend's saying to you, then you need to take care of your own mental health before you can support someone else, and that's something I have always said and I stick by. I have done the opposite and suffered for it, but absolutely 100% you take care of yourself first, because you can't help anybody else if you're dying inside. Get out of there. Fire your therapist. Get another one. Story number 2. My roommate's situation made me avoid my dorm room all year. Was I overreacting? By Cultural Gift 206. I moved into my dorm in August, thinking I was supposed to have the room to myself for a semester, because the girl that was originally supposed to be my roommate texted me before move-in, saying she broke her leg and wouldn't be on campus until next semester. Then I got assigned a different roommate, and when I got to the dorm, she had already moved in. At first, everything seemed normal, but by literally the second or third week, the vibe started feeling weird. Because she was getting comfortable. One week, my period started, and I got really sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. And after I went to the sink, my roommate snatched her stuff away from the sink with an attitude. The next day, she woke me up saying, "Wakey, wakey," and whispered, "She finna get on my nerve already." Because I didn't help clean the day before, even though nobody told me it was cleaning day and I was literally sick. I still went out and bought cleaning supplies and cleaned the shower anyway. After that, I slowly started avoiding the room. Then one day I was folding clothes while she was wiping down the window, and she made a comment about people don't know how to clean up. Another time all three of us cleaned, and I cleaned the bathroom floor, and she checked it afterward. Blew her breath and told me if I didn't know how to clean something, I should ask somebody. Oh, I hate this bitch already. My sweet maid was sick that day, and my roommate... My sweet maid was sick that day too, and my roommate told her, "I understand you're sick, but you still have to clean up." That's when I started realizing how serious she was about cleaning. Her mental disorder doesn't have to be yours. The crazy part is, yeah, that sounds like it, she always talked about how she didn't play that dirty mess and how she cleaned throughout the week. But there were plenty of times I came back to being gone all day, and there was stuff everywhere too. Clothes everywhere, wrappers around, sink dirty, stuff all over the bathroom, panty liner wrappers around multiple times. And one time there was literally a panty liner sitting in the bathroom for a few days. There were even times I had to clean up after her too, which is why the comments about cleaning confused me so much. We even failed a room check at one point. That's why I started feeling like there was a double standard. Because if my side would have been dirty, it would have immediately been a problem. But when she did stuff, it wasn't treated the same. If I made noise while she was sleeping, it was a problem, but she would make noise too. If I was on the phone, she would blow her breath and act irritated. But she would be loud on the phone late at night herself. One day I was on the phone and she literally turned her music all the way up. If I came into the room, she'd blow her breath like she always did. One day I accidentally left the door cracked because my hands were full. It became an issue. One day I asked if she wanted the door open or closed, because I was about to leave, and she answered with attitude, talking about, "You was about to go, right?" Another thing that irritated me was one day I was in the bathroom, and after I used it, I was cleaning up after myself like I always do, and she literally opened the bathroom door without knocking, knowing the bathroom lock wasn't even working. Then after opening it, she kept blowing breath like she always did. Meanwhile, she would take a long time in the bathroom herself, and I never rushed her or made comments about it at all. She touched my stuff before, oh no, and used some of my cotton swabs, but later texted the group chat saying, "Don't use her wipes because nobody paid for them." She also stole my card holder and lashes, which made me trust her even less after that. She brought friends over, and after they took my drinks and trash was around the table, she would put stuff on my side and leave the room light on all night sometimes. Then in November she had a boy over and they had sex in the room while I slept, and he stayed over afterward. You should have reported that. That's definitely not allowed. A couple of days later she whispered she was tired of cleaning up after people. Does she make messes and forget? Because I think she's the people. By that point I had completely checked out mentally. The thing is, I barely was even in the room. Even after class, I would go to the student center, then the library, then somewhere else on campus. Since the end of August. Sometimes I stayed out until the student center closed. Fridays my classes ended before noon, and I still wouldn't go back. I didn't even eat in there anymore. I literally only went back to sleep. The craziest part is I could see my dorm window from the student center, and sometimes I would literally wait until the room light turned off before walking back because I knew it would finally be quiet. Even when it was raining outside, I would still rather sit somewhere else than go back to my room. Walking back to the dorm late at night became normal, and sometimes my heart would start beating fast walking toward the building because I never knew what kind of energy I was walking into. I avoided my room so much that I honestly feel like I never really got to experience dorm life the way most freshmen do. Instead of relaxing in my room, hanging out, decorating, inviting people over, or making memories in there, I spent most of the freshman year trying to stay away from it. Sadly, your story is also a very common one. It shouldn't be the default. It's not the default, but it is a common one. Because some people are just assholes. People always ask why I didn't report it or talk to her about it, but honestly, by the time I realized how uncomfortable I felt, we already barely talked anymore. There was never some huge argument. It was just constant tension, weird comments, attitudes, double standards, and feeling uncomfortable little by little until I stopped feeling at home there. I mean, you can rest secure in the knowledge that this was entirely her problem. I had also a lot of stuff, and moving rooms in the middle of the year felt overwhelming. Oh, it would have been worth it, but it's a bit late now. Especially once room changes didn't open up until later in the semester. I think part of me kept hoping more that the vibe would improve, never does. And it never really did. By the end of freshman year, I realized I felt more comfortable everywhere else on campus than I did in my own dorm room. Oh, well, I hope that the next year, you're in a much more comfortable living situation and you don't have to deal with that bitch. Alright, story number 3. I recently moved in with my boyfriend, and these roommates piss me off. By Fit Employer 3225. I, female 18, recently moved in with my boyfriend, male 21, at the end of last month. First time living without my parents. I was really excited, and I thought everything was going to be fine. My boyfriend had recently also moved out of his parents' house to live with some old friends of his and her boyfriend. So it was like a double couple thing, I don't really know. So, he moved in first, and after a week or two, he began complaining about them to me on the phone, saying they were gross and rude, whatever. I brushed it off and wanted to daydream to myself about decorating the house and keeping it clean and whatever. I don't know, I like daydreaming and hoping for the best. Upon me moving in, and ignoring his negativity about the living situation, those are what we call red flags. I quickly became aware they were not very great roommates. For one thing, there was a random guy sleeping on the couch. He apparently lives there too now all of a sudden. He smokes weed all the time and is always drunk, yelling on the phone at his baby mama. We'll just call him Pothead. Not that smoking pot is bad, but it's literally all he ever does, bro. Then we have the couple, a woman a year older than me, basically the grand master of the house or whatever. She acts like everyone's boss. We'll name her Bossy. And her boyfriend. He isn't anything special. He's just a guy, so his name will be Guy. So the first thing that happened upon moving in was Bossy telling my boyfriend to clean dishes. My boyfriend was very prominent on saying no, so I said I would do them. She goes,
"No! I said your boyfriend can do them so he can!"
Girl, bye, that's my man, shut the fuck up. What makes the situation worse is that my boyfriend doesn't use anything in the kitchen. He doesn't use pots or pans. He has his own that he keeps in his room. He buys his own groceries and keeps them in his own fridge. But they leave this kitchen absolutely disgusting and make him clean it or they'll kick him out. Yeah, y'all need to get into a different place. I mean, that's literally your only solution here. We keep our room clean. We clean up after ourselves. Just add, you mentioned in the comments below that there's only one person on the lease and it's someone that doesn't even live there. That is a messed up situation you've all gotten yourself into, and for your own sake, your own safety, get the hell out and then report it to the actual landlord. Here's a visual for you, since I can't just walk in and take a photo right now. The sink is overflowing with crusted dishes that have been laying there for at least 3 days. The counters are covered in random shit and trash. The top of the oven is covered in more dirty dishes. The table is covered in plates with old food, edible wrappers from the gas station or somewhere, dirty cups and random objects. The floor is covered in so much dirt that after washing dishes, the bottom of your feet are pitch black. There are bugs everywhere. I have seen roaches. The windowsill is covered in dead bugs. I cleaned it a week ago, and there's more. The reason for the bugs is because they leave the door open outside for hours on end, while they sit out there and drink and smoke weed and blast music. Once they somehow let a huge fish fly in the house, and were too chicken to take it out, so they made my boyfriend fix it. Yeah, it sounds like asking your boyfriend to move in is what they wanted. A servant is what they wanted. Another thing is they used my boyfriend's truck as a dumpster. Because the house doesn't come with a dumpster, they all decided to throw it in the back of his truck and make him pay the $10 to take it off. Once we visited my parents, and they were nice enough to throw it in theirs for us, but my stepmom told us they found maggots in the bed of it. My boyfriend wasn't happy. Then, on top of that, we have a rent dilemma. The rent is $1,300 and is supposed to be split between all 4 of them. Before I moved in, then we were going to split it 5 ways. Before I moved in, my boyfriend was paying $650 while others split the other $650 between themselves. Right, so he was paying for somebody else's rent. That means before I moved in, they each paid $216 and some change a month for themselves, while my boyfriend paid $650. Now the time here, we both pay $325 while they all pay less. That makes no sense at all, but apparently Bossy has the right to kick anyone out when she feels the need to. I'd love to see it try. Another thing, our place is a duplex, so the current person under the lease is next door. She's in charge of all of us, dubious, and can kick anyone out on a limb. Is that where you want to live? Next month she's moving, and Bossy and the other 2 are moving to the other side, while my boyfriend and I keep the current side. Bossy says we have to get a 3rd person to make sure the $1,300 is fully paid each month. Y'all aren't pulling your weight and it's getting paid, fucker. Whatever, that's not important. What she said that is important, though, is when my boyfriend asked how we're doing the lease, she said,
We'll just do it like we've had it, and it'll be one name and everybody rents under them.
This one person, of course, being her. Get in contact with the landlord, absolutely. Now, why the fuck would we want to do that? Just to have more power play? Hell no. Another time I was telling them about how I used to work at McDonald's in Houston. I had men say disgusting things to me. Bossy was all like,
"With that chest size, I'd believe it."
Then Pothead added on talking about, "Yeah, you do have some nice tits." Shut up! You're weird! Then like 2 days later, a guy asked me, "Does your boyfriend let you out wearing that?" Because my shirt was a crop top, and I was just going out to celebrate my birthday with my stepmom and siblings. So when my boyfriend heard about this, he tried to calmly tell them not to do that anymore. They tried to gang up on him, and were in his face yelling. Both these men are like a decade older than us. It doesn't matter what age they are, no one should be acting that way. I'm not even 20 yet, my boyfriend is 21. They're both like 30, and one of them is unemployed. We're trying to get out as we speak, but it's hard. I'm just sick of it here. Sounds like you're on good terms with your family, so move back home. I hope your boyfriend's on good terms with his family, so he should do the same. And then get into another place together, maybe with roommates, but make sure you research everything first, and make sure you're on the fucking lease. On the lease. Get on the lease. Story number 4. My roommate climbed into my bed at 4 a.m. and acted like she didn't know who I was. Just Locksmith 9985. I genuinely don't know what to make of what happened with my roommate last night, and I'm hoping someone can help me figure out whether this sounds like sleepwalking, alcohol, medication, drugs, or something else entirely. For context, this is not the first strange incident. My roommate has come into my room in the middle of the night before, acting confused and not making sense. But last night was on a completely different level. Around 4 a.m., I woke up because someone was climbing into my bed. At first I was terrified. I was half asleep and had no idea what was happening. I realized it was my roommate. But instead of getting into the empty side of the bed, she climbed on top of me and was trying to settle into my bed like it was hers. I immediately told her she was in my room and needed to go back to her own bed. She would respond with things like, "Meh," but then wouldn't move. It was like she could hear the words, but wasn't actually processing anything I was saying. The strangest part was that she didn't seem to know who I was. We've lived together for a long time, but she told me that we had met earlier that night, and I had invited her to sleep in my bed. An example of the wish being father of the thought, I feel. It genuinely felt like she thought I was a random person she had just met rather than her roommate. Eventually I ended up trying to reason with her, but it felt impossible. She fell asleep in my bed, and I went back to sleep for a little while. A couple of hours later I had to get up for work. When I turned on the light, she woke up and started wandering around my room and acting incredibly strange. She peed in my shower and got urine all over the floor. Well, at least it was in the shower. Then she put her feet in my toilet water. Well, you've got to do that when you pee in the shower, I suppose. When I tried to get her to go back to her room, she grabbed my jewelry and pulled it off my dresser. After she finally left my room, I discovered a large puddle and trail of liquid throughout the hallway. I honestly have no idea what it was either, urine or something else. What makes this even stranger is that her friend, who was with her all night, later told me she didn't seem particularly drunk when we were out. Oh, she's got to have done drugs or something in. There have been other things that have made me wonder if there's something more going on. Maybe a mental thing, but... Does she take medication? My other roommate and I once had a genuinely scary experience where we could barely wake her. We were concerned enough that we thought something might be wrong. Later she said she had taken strong pain medication to get ahead of period pain. Must be bloody strong. I also notice behavior when we're out socially that has always struck me as odd. There have been multiple times where she appears to nod off unexpectedly. Her eyes roll into the back of her head, her jaw moves in strange repetitive ways, and she pushes her tongue around in a way that looks unusual. This sounds like addict behavior, really. Whenever the topic comes up, she denies taking anything beyond what she normally admits to. Yeah, right, love. She has also been sleeping through huge portions of the day, and on and off recently. I'm not trying to accuse her of anything. I will. I'm honestly concerned. This isn't normal drunken behavior in my experience, and I also don't know much about sleepwalking, medication interactions, or substance use. Does this sound familiar to anyone? If you experienced this with a roommate, friend, or a family member, what did it turn out to be? Update. A lot of people asked me to talk to my roommate directly, so we did. Unfortunately, the conversation did not go well. She took essentially no accountability for what happened and was mostly upset with me. She was angry that I didn't do more to wake her up and get her back to her room. Yeah, because that's your responsibility, apparently? Fuck off. Even though I had repeatedly tried to wake her, talk to her, and get her to leave my room throughout the night. She was also upset that I remained in the room while she was wandering around, what your own room, that is, peeing in my shower and putting her feet in the toilet. From my perspective, I was dealing with someone who seemed confused, disoriented, and not fully aware of what was happening, and I genuinely did not know how to handle the situation. Oh, pop your phone out and record it next time, so you've got proof. She says she remembers none of it, and insists she did not take any drugs or medications. The only explanation she offered was that maybe alcohol somehow caused it. She also seemed very upset that I brought the situation up at all, and that my other roommate became aware of it. The overall feeling I got from the conversation was that she doesn't really believe my account of what happened, even though I have no reason to make any of this up. I ended up apologizing for how I handled certain parts of the situation. You can't apologize to these creatures, absolutely not. It just confirms in their mind that you're the bad guy. Including bringing it up in group chat for a previous incident months ago where I accused her of being on drugs while we were out. Looking back, I probably didn't need to apologize as much as I did. You certainly did not. But I wanted to try to de-escalate things and preserve our living situation. One positive thing is that she said she made a doctor's appointment to get checked out. Let's hope she follows through. At this point, things in the apartment are extremely tense. For my own peace of mind, I have started locking my bedroom door at night. I've also purchased a camera for my room when I'm away, because I can't lock my bedroom door from the outside. And after everything that's happened, I no longer feel completely comfortable. I don't blame you. It's a weird situation. There's nothing normal about what happened there. I must say, you handled yourself admirably. I mean, you were a lot more patient than I think most people would have been. One other detail that has me confused. My other roommate found an old prescription for tramadol in her room that appears to be from about a year ago. I have no idea whether she takes it, whether it was prescribed legitimately, or whether it has anything to do with any of this. I'm only mentioning it because a lot of people asked whether medications could be involved. At this point, I'm questioning everything. Am I in the wrong here? Not even slightly. Was I supposed to handle this differently? And does anyone have any advice on how to make a living situation less hostile when one person feels wrongfully accused and the other person feels like they aren't being believed? I'm honestly exhausted and wish none of this had ever happened. Well, take solace in the fact that you didn't do anything to make it happen. That was all her. Maybe she has a medical thing going on. We don't know. It seems like she's really unwilling to address it. Quite frankly, that is not normal behavior for an adult. I definitely record the behavior next time, so you've got it documented and she can't deny it happening. Just because she doesn't remember it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I think if it was in as extremes like that, I mean, it seems like she's having some sort of break in the moment. Maybe call someone. Do you have numbers of her friends or family you could call? If not, maybe a medical intervention might be required. But no, you shouldn't feel bad about anything here. You did really well with how you handled this. The hostility is not coming from you, it's coming from her own stubbornness and reluctance to admit that something's wrong. Now, whether it's something wrong because she's taking drugs or abusing alcohol, or maybe there's a bigger medical condition going on that needs to be addressed, but that's all on her. Fifth and final story, Undies Inside Out on the Shower by Glum Tire. I don't live with this girl anymore, but the scars from our 2 years together still haunt me to this day. At the time, I lived in a 4-bed apartment with 2 bathrooms. So, I would share a wall, bathroom and shower with this roommate. I'm just straight out going to list some of our worst encounters. Went to bed at 8 p.m. every day. I couldn't even talk on the phone with my own mother without her knocking on my door to be quiet after that time. This included weekends. Well, that's just unreasonable. Her mom was an interior designer, the kind I would only hire for my worst enemy. Her color scheme was teal and pink with grandma-like couch covers. Apartment was furnished. And a vanity that sat out in the shared hallway blocking the shelves. The couch cover was flung on and never fitted despite me asking her to fix it. Weeks went by, so I just took it off myself. When moving in, I brought up groceries and her mother said, "Oh, we'll have to assign refrigerator space for everyone." "Sorry, I didn't realize you were my roommate." She took up every inch of freezer space. Well, then you can take it right back. I always wondered why my 1 tub of ice cream wouldn't stay frozen, and it's because she was blocking the fan. I'm not kidding, she packed that thing to the brim. Blender went off at 11:55 every day. One day I had 5 minutes left in my out-of-pocket online therapy appointment. Blender went off and me and the therapist could not hear each other one bit. 2-second pause. Another 4 seconds. Hey girl, mind waiting 5 more minutes? I'm just finishing up a therapy appointment. She says no, she only has 30 minutes. 30 full minutes. Until she has to leave. Cue my awkward retreat back to my room where we end our appointment early. Yet she gets mad at me for making a peep past 8 p.m. Her boyfriend was staying the weekend. No permissions asked, of course. He's hanging out in the living room around 8:30. And I have a guy friend over. A friend. He tells her she approaches me the next day, talking about how uncomfortable it made her, and she could never operate like that. Keep in mind this guy was over for an hour, nothing happened either. Grand finale. She went on a long run, 6 mornings a week. She would then proceed to hang her leggings up over the shower rod, inside out, with undies still attached. Absolutely disgusting, and I would have to pull them off to get in the shower. I told her to stop, and she didn't. One day I piled them in front of her door. She was pissed. Serves her right. Anyways, thanks for listening to my soap opera. Felt like she was a little bit of a different type of roommate from hell. It sounds kind of like the standard asshole, really. Sucks, because I don't think I would have disliked her if I didn't live with her. Ah, that's true for so many people. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. If you'd like to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. $1 or more gets you early access. I'm going very fast, I should slow down. Gets you early access to all the videos at once on Monday. There's also a link to my Discord server, my Threads account, and if you need to contact me, my email is kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's everything for now, so until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.